This was unexpected. Was not planning this whatsoever. Actually, the review I was going to do was for this, Cleansing Hour, but I have not watched it yet. Because I got home from work, was going to have lunch, couldn't find nothing on YouTube, so I finished watching something, Secret Girlfriend, which I'll be watching, it's only 6 episodes. And I'm like, well, what else is there? Let me look on demand. Or let me look on cable and see what. As I'm going through, I get to the Flicks channel. And they're playing Without a Paddle. So, I decided to look on demand. And they have it on there so I could watch it from the beginning. Because it was midway through the film. And so, here I am, going to review for you Without a Paddle. Which came out in 2003? I think it was a year, because we watched it because it had Matthew Lillard in it, and Scooby-Doo came out the year before. So, yeah. So, yes, it stars Matthew Lillard, Seth Green, and Dax Shepard, and what I believe was his first major film. He may have minor appearances here and there before that, but Dax Shepard became kind of not to look out after this. I started looking for more stuff with them in it. Matthew Lillard, of course, from Scream, and Scooby-Doo, and I think he's in 13 Ghosts. I've never seen that movie, but he's been in a lot of things, and Seth Green, of course, Family Guy, and Robot Chicken, which at the time was, it was, getting started, and that was my jam back then. I still watch it every once in a while. But Dax Shepard hasn't really been in anything. He was in, Seth Green was also in, that 70s show for a while, but, Dax Shepard hadn't really been in anything. Unbeknownst to me, he was in Punk'd with Ashton Kutcher, so he knew Ashton Kutcher, but he was in Punk'd for a while. Rope was glitching out. But nothing really. No, but after this, he was in Let's Go to Prison and Employee of the Month, which is another one I want to review, but I can't find my freaking copy anywhere. But, yeah, so Without a Paddle tells the story of three childhood friends who've grown up, got their own lives, but their fourth friend, Billy, passes away tragically and out of freaking nowhere. They decide to finally go on a trip they've been planning for their whole childhood, their whole life, basically. So, yeah, we're showing like a montage at the beginning of this of their childhood stuff. They were just like Ghostbusters and for Halloween, and the four of them were like best friends, and then they sent Billy off to college, and they say he's gonna do great things. And apparently Billy had a great life. He did a lot of things. He died from a shark attack, I think it was. But their biggest thing was that they were obsessed with the legend of D.B. Cooper. You don't know that? D.B. Cooper robbed a bank and then got lost in the mountains somewhere, and they never found him or the money that he stole. It's a legend. And they wanted to try to find the treasure and try to find DB's body. And but they never really had a chance to. But upon revisiting their childhood treehouse and trying to go through stuff, they realized that Billy had actually been planning his trip in all actuality. And in fact, he had asked them a summer earlier, the previous summer, to go on a camping trip, which is what it was supposed to be. But Tom was detained in Mexico, couldn't go. Billy wouldn't go without all of them. So they go without Billy. Well, they can't really go with Billy, he's dead. But they decide to go on this trip. And the one thing that's always confused me about this is that, they're shown that their lives aren't what they've wanted it to be. Jerry is at a boring office job, and he's struggling with his relationship with his girlfriend. Jerry, by the way, is Matthew Lillard's character. Dan, who is... Hold on. Oh, you're gonna have to... Come on! Dan, who is Seth Green's character, he's a doctor, but he never has, he doesn't have the oomph to do anything. He's just stuck doing this job. He doesn't stand up for himself or anything. There's this guy that steals his parking spot. He says, "Oh, excuse me, that's my parking spot." And he goes, "Well, also your name on it." Actually, it doesn't say my name. I'm Dr. Mott. So the guy rips the sign off, and he doesn't do anything about it, And then there's Tom, who is Dax Shepard's character, and he... Well, I don't know what's bad about his life. Well, they show that he's with a woman. She's actually in a relationship with another woman who comes in and attacks him. But I'm not sure what it was supposed to feel like. I know throughout the film we get him talking about how, everything he made, everything spectacular about his life he's made up. So, by the end of the film he's still telling lies anyway to those campfire kids, but... yeah, so they go on this trip. And they're basically unprepared. They have a map that Billy, drew up. How he figured it out, I don't know. But along the way, they encounter Bear, which tries to carry Dan away. It leads to a great line reading by Seth Green. "Help me!" This is how he says that. "Help me!" And they come across a couple of rednecks, played by Ethan Suplee and Abraham Ben Ruby, who are growing weed. They're weed farmers. And previously before this, they come across the sheriff. This, traditional backwoods hick sheriff, missing teeth and stuff like that. Then he basically tells him, be careful out there. You don't want to go out there. Something is going on with him if he's trying to tell him not to go out there. And then you see the weed farmers, and you're like, okay, maybe they're connected, but you don't know. But then later in the film, the sheriff shows up out of nowhere, and it's like, how is he out there? What's going on? Yeah, he's in on it. He's in charge of it. It's his crop. So yeah. The comedy in this film, I think, is pretty good. Maybe a little bit aged, a little bit there's some of the gay jokes don't really hit as well. There's the scene where it's raining. They're in their underwear because they were just at this in this tree, and I don't remember why they take their clothes off. Is it because they were wet? I think. Yeah, because they fell in the river. Yeah, that's right. They were wet, and they find these hippie chicks in in a tree house, and then the rednecks find them because they try to contact someone via radio, and the only one in range was their radio. Which, yeah, it's kind of stupid to even try. But they escape, but they don't have no clothes, and so they're gonna get cold. They're gonna, hypothermia and stuff, so they have to cuddle together. And yeah, they make a gay joke, Dan's like, "I'm done. I'm out." And he's like, "Oh, Dan's out. Dan's coming out of the closet." It's the ribbing you give your friend. But I don't know. Maybe nowadays that wouldn't fly in a movie, I guess. But the next joke does kind of still work because they're laying there, cuddled up or whatever. And Jerry starts talking about the girls. They told a story. The girls told a story to the guys about tantric orgasm they had during the last rainstorm. So Jerry starts talking about that again. And of course, Dan gets a boner because of the, talking about it. And then, Tom's like, "Hey, what the hell are you doing?" And then they're found by Del, who is D.B. Cooper's partner, and he's played by the late Burt Reynolds. And Burt Reynolds, great performance, of course. He was D.B. Cooper's partner, and they separated, and he's been trying to find him for the last 30 years, maybe more. He said he was up there for 30 years, but I don't know. I think it was longer than that. But yeah, of course. And so the rednecks. There's one thing that really bugs me about this movie. It's that the redneck guys keep finding them. Now, I understand the radio thing. They find them, but they got away from them. They were hiding. They were gone, away from them. They got away. And somehow, they find them again at Dell's cabin. Somehow. There's the thing with the bear, where the bear ate Dan's phone, and then they find the phone. How he talking that thing with the shit, I don't know, but yeah, and they find him. And then Dell creates he gives him clothes, of course, but he creates a diversion while the others run away. And then the rednecks find him again because they're singing Culture Club. Do you really want to hurt me? So that Dan can go through a small, tiny hole. It sounds wrong. A little, tiny hole in the ground to get out of the cave that they fell in. Because they find D.B. Cooper's body. They find that he burned the money to keep himself warm. So Dan finally becomes a man. He comes out. He knocks them both the rednecks into the hole with with a piece of a tree or like a log or something. Eventually, everyone gets out. The sheriff shows up, and the sheriff's in on it, of course. And then there's a showdown with this, because the rednecks had a grenade and Dan dropped it, but now Jerry has it, and he takes it and he throws it, and it goes off in front of this tree, and it falls on the three guys. So they're safe, and it ends with them talking to Dell, which you can't say any names because feds, but then he proceeds to yell how he was trying to find DB's body for 30 years. So, I don't know. He gives them DB's parachute and said there's something wrapped inside. It turns out there's money in there. $100,000, at least, in there. Because DB didn't burn it all because he couldn't burn it all because of Dell's share. So yeah, and they give the money to Tom, because Tom earlier in the film was saying he had a curse. Well, now he's got money to pay off all his debts. The other two go on to their normal lives. Dan ends up hooking up with by the way, the two hippie chicks were played by Rachel Blanchard and Christina Moore. I knew Rachel Blanchard was in this, but I didn't realize Christina Moore was in this. Christina Moore? Which is weird, because she was also on that 70s show. She was the second Lori. So, yeah, it was really weird. But he ends up with the hippie chick, Rachel Blanchard hippie chick. And he can turn off the light. Apparently there's lamps and beds and a treehouse, because that's where he is. I don't know if that could be accurate. How get electricity up there, but I don't know. And Jerry goes home, and there's this running joke thing with his answering machine, which nowadays kids would be like, what's that? But when Jerry's mom first calls to tell him that Billy died, it goes off, Jerry and girlfriend name, whatever her name is, can't come to the phone because they're doing it. And then when he calls her, it goes off and it says, Jerry and him aren't doing it anymore. And basically she broke up with him. And then he set up a new recording. And he calls it so she can hear it, just as she coming in the door. And it's basically an apology, and then he proposes to her. Which is, pretty cool. But it's smooth, you know what I'm saying? And then, apparently, all we get from what happened with Tom was that he was, once again, lying to the kids about, he said he jumped on a grenade, which would kill him, but, I think, what's it downstairs? And he smiled and was like, That's how it ends. And we get, there's some pretty good music in this. You start with the first song during the montages. I wish that I knew what I know now when I was younger. And you have other songs playing out. My mind goes back to a girl I met some years ago who told me, hold on loosely, but don't let go. And at the end credits it plays, whoa, Black Betty, bam, bam. But it's a cover version, so it sounds weird. And then the rednecks are listening to Creed, which the rednecks listen to Creed, I don't know. All I can say is that my life is really lame. That plays earlier on in the film too. Some decent music in this. It's not the early 2000s, kind of music. It's older music, which works. And I think that Matthew Lillard, Seth Green, and Dax Shepard work very well together. I'm surprised they did make a sequel, but it had nothing to do with this. But I wish they'd made an actual sequel, because when I heard they were making it Without a Paddle 2, I'm like, what? It has nothing to do with this. It's one of those 2000s direct-to-DVD ones that are sequels that are not really connected. Like Road Trip Beer Pong, it has a small connection because of Kyle, but it's not really connected to the story from the first one. And like all the direct-to-video American Pie Present movies that are kind of spin-offs of that. I reviewed all those. You should check those reviews out. But, yeah, kind of like that. I didn't have interest in that. But this is a really good movie. I really enjoy it. I really don't see anything. I mean, I had little nitpicks here and there. The whole thing with the guy is funny. But I don't really see much, problems with it. I'm going to give it 9 out of 10. I know it's not a perfect film. I'm going to give it 9 out of 10. I really enjoy this film. Haven't watched it in a while. It was fun to watch. I really enjoyed it. So, what are your thoughts on Without a Paddle? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty. We'll see you in the next one. Tom, you were a Boy Scout, weren't you? No? But I ate a brownie once. Yeah, we're here to pick up a set of teeth. What? Tasers. Stun guns. I am Dr. Mott now. Makes it sound like freaking applesauce. Alright, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. Bye.